Is there a civilization more magical, mystical, and mysterious than ancient Egypt? There are the pyramids of Giza, the Sphinx, godlike pharaohs walking through ancient palaces, hieroglyphs encoded with secret meaning, and a strange pantheon of animal-headed gods. But despite years of intense archaeological work, many ancient Egyptian mysteries still remain unsolved. Even Egyptologists who have studied Egyptian history for decades still don't understand them. So can you? Well, let's find out. Number 15. Unfinished Pyramid of Zoyet El Aryan. About 5 miles south of the Giza Plateau, inside a restricted military zone, lies one of Egypt's strangest unfinished projects. Known as the Northern Pyramid of Zoyet El Aryan, the site doesn't show the massive stone structure we expect. Instead, it's defined by a deep cut carved straight into the bedrock. The main feature is a huge trench leading down to a chamber more than 20 meters below ground. The floor is paved with massive granite blocks brought all the way from Aswan. They were placed with such precision that early reports described the surface as incredibly smooth. At the center sits an oval granite sarcophagus, carved from a single piece and sealed with plaster. When opened, it was completely empty. Around the site, unfinished materials suggest the work stopped suddenly. Well, it's because maybe the ruler died. Maybe something went wrong. With no modern access allowed, the real answer is still out of reach. Chapter 14. The Silver Pharaoh's Untouched Tomb. While the glittering gold of Giza usually steals the spotlight, a discovery deep in the wetlands of the Nile Delta quietly rewrote what we thought we knew about Egyptian wealth. In 1939, French archaeologist Pierre Montet was working at Tanis when he broke through the sealed limestone wall of a royal tomb belonging to Susen I. Now, what he found shouldn't have existed. An entirely untouched burial, undisturbed for nearly 3,000 years. Inside sat something even more surprising. A sarcophagus made of solid silver. Well, not gold, but silver. At the time, this metal was far rarer in Egypt, imported from distant lands like Anatolia and Iberia, making it even more valuable than gold itself. The coffin was crafted with remarkable precision, depicting the king as Osiris, its surface still detailed despite the damp delta conditions. Even more astonishing, the silver shell held a second golden coffin within, along with a funerary mask of gold and lapis lazuli. This wasn't a struggling ruler's burial, it rivaled the great Tutankhamun. What kind of man was he? Number 13. The Lost Land of Punt. For centuries, Egyptian records spoke of a distant place called Punt, a land described not as foreign, but almost sacred. It was a source of rare goods, like incense, gold, ebony, and exotic animals that didn't exist along the Nile. Reliefs from Queen Hatshepsut's temple show detailed scenes of expeditions arriving on foreign shores, greeted by local rulers, with homes built on stilts and landscapes rich with vegetation. Yet despite all this detail, Punt itself has never been located. Most evidence points toward the Horn of Africa, somewhere around modern Eritrea or Ethiopia. A major clue came from isotope analysis of mummified baboons brought back from these journeys, linking them to that region. Still, no confirmed city or port has been uncovered. That absence raises questions. It's possible the people of Punt built with materials that didn't survive, wood, reed, and mud, leaving little trace behind. What remains is a puzzle shaped by trade and fragments of evidence pointing to a place that clearly existed but refuses to reveal itself. Number 12. Zagreb Mummy's Linen Book. In 1848, a Croatian official named Mihajlo Bari bought a mummy while traveling through Egypt. After bringing it home, he removed the linen wrappings and displayed them separately. Years later, something unusual was noticed. The cloth was covered in writing. This became known as the Zagreb Linen Book, the longest text ever found in the Etruscan language. The strange part is that Etruscans were from ancient Italy, not Egypt, The fabric was once a long written document, later cut into strips and used as mummy bandages. By chance, this preserved the text for over 2,000 years. When studied, it turned out to be a ritual calendar, listing ceremonies, gods, and specific days. The woman wrapped in it was Egyptian, with no link to Etruscan culture. So how did it get there? It may have arrived through trade, migration, or simple reuse. Well, either way, a rare text survived because it was treated as ordinary cloth. Number 11. The Hanuk-Tawi mystery. In the early 1990s, a routine lab test turned into something far more shocking. Toxicologist Svetlana Balabanova was analyzing the remains of an ancient Egyptian woman named Hanuk-Tawi when the results came back: nicotine and cocaine. At first, it sounded impossible. Both substances are tied to plants native to the Americas, continents believed to be unknown to ancient Egypt until thousands of years later. The simplest explanation was contamination. Maybe modern handling had skewed the results. But further testing complicated things. Multiple mummies from different periods showed similar chemical traces. Even more telling, the substances weren't just on the surface, they were embedded deep within hair and tissue. That meant exposure during life, not after death. So what's the explanation? Some suggest that lost plant species once existed in Africa. Others point to unknown trade networks. Nothing answers the question. And that's what makes it strange, because the proof is real, even if the explanation isn't. Number 10. Secret of Egyptian blue. Long before modern chemistry and science, Egyptian craftsmen were already creating materials that required careful control. One of their most impressive inventions was Egyptian blue, the first known synthetic pigment. This wasn't just crushed stone, as many people think. It was made by heating a mix of silica, lime, copper, and other elements at high temperatures. The process had to be controlled super carefully. Too little heat, and it failed. Too much, and it became useless. Blue held deep meaning in ancient Egypt. It represented the Nile, the sky, and the divine. Natural blue stones were rare and expensive, so creating their own color allowed wider use in art and decoration. What makes it more interesting is what modern science found later. Under certain light, Egyptian blue gives off infrared signals, something unusual for such an old material. Over time, the exact method was lost. The color remained on walls and statues, but the process disappeared, leaving behind a result that people couldn't fully recreate for centuries. Number 9. The Emiot fetish. Among the objects found in Egyptian tombs, few are as strange and scary as the Emiot fetish. It's a headless animal skin, often from a bull or feline, tightly packed with linen and mounted on a pole fixed into a stone base. At first sight, it feels unsettling, almost out of place among gold and polished stone. But this object held deep meaning. Its origins stretch back to the earliest dynasties, where it appears in tomb art beside kings and high officials. The name itself roughly translates to that which is in the wrappings, linking it directly to mummification. For the Egyptians, this wasn't a decorative piece, it was a manifestation of Anubis, the god associated with embalming and the protection of the dead. The form mattered. A body without a head, filled and preserved, mirrored the transformation of the human body during burial. Placed within the tomb, it acted as a guardian, overseeing the passage from life into the afterlife. Strange by modern standards, but within its context, it was precise, symbolic, and totally mysterious. Number 8. Sabu disc. Back in 1936, during an excavation at Saqqara, an unusual object was found inside the tomb of Prince Sabu. It was a stone disc, about 60 centimeters wide, made from a fragile material called schist. The design stands out immediately. It has 3 thin curved sections bending inward toward a central point. For something dating back to around 3000 BC, it looks oddly precise. At first, it was labeled as a ceremonial object, mainly because no clear use could be confirmed. But the shape raises questions. It doesn't function well as a bowl, and the center suggests it could have been mounted or rotated. Some believe it may have had a mechanical purpose, possibly related to movement or mixing. Others think it was symbolic or experimental. The material makes it even more puzzling. Schist breaks easily, so carving such thin sections would have been difficult. No other object like it has ever been found, which only adds to the mystery. Number 7. Red Pyramid's acoustic resonance. The Red Pyramid at Dashur was Egypt's first truly successful smooth-sided pyramid built by Pharaoh Sneferu, father of Khufu. Its reddish limestone core gave it the name we use today, but the real surprise sits inside. The pyramid's 3 chambers, especially the central spaces with their tall corbelled ceilings, create a strange acoustic effect. Low voices, humming, or chanting can swell inside the stone rooms, bouncing off the hard limestone until the sound feels almost physical. It is not a normal echo. It lingers, deepens, and seems to vibrate through the chest. Researchers have measured strong responses between roughly 57 and 110 hertz, close to the lower range of a male voice. Whether Sneferu's builders planned this or found it by experience is still debated. But in a culture where ritual chants, hymns, and sacred sound matter deeply, the effect would have turned a simple ceremony into something far more powerful. Number 6. Precision of pre-dynastic granite vases. Deep beneath the step pyramid at Saqqara, archaeologists found thousands of stone vessels, far more than expected, and far more refined than their age suggests. Many of these vases were carved from very hard materials like granite, basalt, and diorite. That alone is great. What's harder to explain is their precision. Some feature walls only a few millimeters thick, with narrow necks that make internal carving seem nearly impossible using simple tools. These objects date back to a time before advanced metalwork, when craftsmen were thought to rely only on copper implements and stone tools. Yet the symmetry is striking. Measurements show near perfect balance and circular form, often within fractions of a millimeter. Tool marks inside the vessels suggest controlled rotation, as if they were shaped using some form of spinning mechanism. Traditional explanations point to hand drills combined with abrasive sand, but the consistency seen across thousands of pieces hints at something more efficient, something systematic, and still not fully understood. Number 5. Abu Ghorab quartz basins. Out in the desert between Giza and Saqqara lies Abu Ghorab, a sun temple built by Pharaoh Niuserre during the 5th dynasty. At first glance, it feels quieter than the pyramids. But the real intrigue sits in its central courtyard, 9 massive basins carved from solid stone. Each one stands about a meter tall, shaped with thick rims and punctured by 3 evenly cut circular holes along the sides, giving them an almost mechanical appearance. Early archaeologists assumed they were used for sacrifices, possibly collecting blood from ritual offerings. But that idea falls apart under closer inspection. There are no drainage channels, no organic residue, and no signs of repeated fluid use. Instead, the craftsmanship raises more questions. Quartz-based stone is incredibly hard, far tougher than the copper tools available at the time. Yet the interior surfaces are smooth, even glass-like in places, with precise concentric grooves that hint at controlled, rotary motion. Whatever method was used, it wasn't crude, it was deliberate, consistent, and far more advanced than expected. What do you think about it? Number 4. Giza Solar Ship. In 1954, Kamal el-Malak uncovered one of the most remarkable finds beside the Great Pyramid, a full-sized cedar ship, dismantled into more than 1,200 pieces and sealed beneath massive limestone blocks. The smell of ancient cedar still rose from the pit when it was opened, a detail that feels almost impossible after 4,500 years. The vessel belonged to Khufu's burial complex and measured about 43 meters long, built from imported Lebanese cedar using mortise and tenon joints and rope lashings instead of a modern keel. Its purpose was both royal and sacred. Egyptians believed the sun god Ra crossed the sky in a celestial boat, and Khufu needed his own vessel for that eternal journey. Whether the ship ever touched water remains uncertain. It shows little river wear, yet some rope marks suggest testing or ritual use. Either way, this was not a model. It was a masterpiece of ancient shipbuilding, buried for eternity. Number 3. Nabta Playa Stone Circle. Long before the pyramids rose along the Nile, a different kind of monument stood deep in what is now the Nubian desert. Nabta Playa, dating back to around 7000 BC, was once part of a fertile landscape shaped by seasonal rains. Here, nomadic groups gathered around a shallow lake, bringing cattle and building something unexpected: a stone circle aligned with the sky. Though modest in size, just a few meters across, its placement was deliberate. Certain stones line up precisely with the sunrise during the summer solstice, marking the arrival of rains that sustained both people and livestock. Other alignments appear to track stars like Sirius and Orion, suggesting a long-term observation of the night sky. Surrounding the circle are larger stone arrangements, some weighing several tons, transported from distant areas. Beneath them, archaeologists found evidence of ritual activity rather than burial. This wasn't random construction, it was organized, repeated, and meaningful. But we still don't understand it. Number 2. Hidden Chamber of Khafre. Khafre's pyramid has always looked less mysterious inside than the Great Pyramid beside it. 2 entrances, sloping passages, and one known burial chamber carved into the bedrock made it seem almost simple. But recent geophysical surveys have started to complicate that picture. Ground-penetrating radar and other scanning methods have reportedly detected large voids beneath the pyramid's foundation, suggesting that Khafre's monument may hide a deeper underground system. If these spaces are real, they could change how we understand 4th Dynasty burial design. Giovanni Belzoni reached the known chamber in 1818 and found it mostly empty, with only a damaged granite sarcophagus remaining. Since then, the pyramid was treated as a solid mass, sitting over a basic layout. These new anomalies challenge that assumption. Sharp angles and alignment with the pyramid's central axis hint at deliberate construction rather than natural caves. Whether treasure chamber, ritual complex, or structural feature, the possibility alone puts Khafre back into the center of Egyptology's biggest questions. Number 1. Ritual of the Broken Nose. Walk through any collection of Egyptian statues and one detail keeps showing up: the missing nose. For years, this was brushed off as simple damage, the result of time or accidents. But the pattern is too consistent, and the breaks are often too precise. A closer look reveals intention. To the ancient Egyptians, a statue wasn't just carved stone, it was a living vessel, capable of housing the spirit, or ka, of the person or deity it represented. Through rituals like the opening of the mouth, these figures were believed to gain the ability to breathe, hear, and receive offerings. That belief came with a risk. If someone wanted to neutralize that presence, they didn't need to destroy the entire statue. Removing the nose was enough. Without it, the spirit could no longer breathe, effectively silencing it. This wasn't random vandalism, it was a targeted, symbolic action. In many cases, other features remain untouched, reinforcing the idea that these strikes were deliberate, carried out with a clear understanding of their spiritual impact. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you soon in the next one.